Hello everyone, and welcome to the Commexis Cast Daily for Friday, November 3rd, 2017. All the news you need to know from our inbox to yours. I'm Matthew McGrorty, the videographer and podcaster here at Commexis, and today I'm joined by the lead strategist at Commexis, Phillip Brooks.
Good morning.
And the president of Commexis, Len Ward.
Good morning.
So our first story today is about influencer marketing fraud from DigiDay. Phillip, take it away.
Yeah, so this article is by Shireen Prathak. This is, influencer fraud is something we've spoken about quite a bit in the past, and we've gone pretty in depth with it. But it just every day surprises me the breadth of fraud that we're seeing in this industry. It almost seems like it's more prevalent than the actual legitimate stuff. But just to give you some of the numbers, 50% of anything that was hashtagged ad or sponsored on contained 50% fake engagements, according to anti-fraud company Sway. Out of 118,000 comments, almost 21,000 were actually legitimate. So I mean, that's a huge percentage of what's going on not even being relevant or real. 15% of influencers sign on do sponsored posts don't even actually use the product or post anything. And then this is really fun. Bot comments are responsible for over 40% of total comments. I mean, that's,
yeah.
I mean, what are you getting out of that? And then now there's a whole new thing where people are talking about, pods and pods are essentially groups of bloggers that basically agree to collude and post on each other's stuff. So, it's coming from all these different angles. It's actually coming from the influencers themselves now. So, I don't know. To me, it's just, these groups of pods are up to 30 people at a time. How can you trust any of this data?
See, what I always thought was interesting about pods is, unlike the bot comments that you find from other forms of fraud on Instagram, that the pods are, in effect, commenting on each other's things, but the goal isn't necessarily to, from what I understand, and from other articles I've read about it in the past that we've covered, isn't to basically create fake engagement from each other, but to boost it up on Instagram's algorithm, whatever that is that we don't know.
I mean, we don't know how the algorithm works, but I mean, it seems to me it's reasonable to infer that it works in a lot of ways like Google's, which is that there's some weight given to the value of somebody's comment if they have a well-established account, So I think that to me would be, first of all, you've got the name of the influencer there already, if they're already an existing influencer that may have an audience of their own. But then again, we don't know how the algorithm weights individual posts. So again, it's all speculation on our part, but it seems to be such a risky play right now because it's just so fraught with fraud. And they gave some interesting tips on how to spot influencer fraud when you see it. So one of the things is if you see a huge spike in followers overnight, a skewed ratio of engagement from likes to comments. So here's an interesting number. About 2% of total engagement should be reflected in your comments. So if you're seeing more than 2% engagement, you're either really, really nailing your audience for resonant content, or something fishy is going on. And then finally, 15% of comments should correspond directly with the purchase funnel. These should be people saying, that's an interesting piece of content. I really would like to buy that product, or having questions about the product itself, or even where can I get this? Anything outside of that, is potentially fraud.
Yeah, an interesting statistic that I always think about that sort of relates to this is I have a radio background, and one of the things that people always talk about in radio is how when you have a contest of some sort or you ask people to call in, you're only getting 0.5% of your marketing base, basically, that will interact with you in that level. Most people don't care or won't do anything. So the same thing in Instagram. If it's higher than that 2%, you're either doing something really right, or it's probably fraud. I mean, I don't want to tell people that they might not be doing right, but it's certainly suspicious to look at.
Sure.
So there you go. So our second story for today, Amazon's treasure truck was hitting the streets. This is an article by eMarketer's Andrea Cheng. So originally, basically what this truck is it's, I'll make sure to link the article in an image in the blog description, it's a truck that Amazon has purchased and has decaled to be very sort of, I don't want to say flamboyant, but it's certainly noticeable. and it kind of has a lot of like lights on it and stuff like that. And they drive around and they park in certain places, and you're able to buy heavily discounted items on their app, and then you pick it up at the truck. And that's basically what it is. So some of the offerings they mentioned were things like Vitamixers, Super Nintendo and SNESs, the mini ones, and a couple of things like some cooking appliances that had like 40% discounts. And the goal of this was to be a marketing tactic, obviously. I mean, also to sort of tap into that treasure hunt sort of thing that people are really liking, I mean, I think it's an interesting concept that they're pulling out. I don't know how super successful it is, but they've been parking outside of places like Whole Foods. Obviously, Amazon just bought Whole Foods in August, I believe. So it's an interesting marketing tactic for both sort of brands.
I mean, I think one of us here actually took advantage of this product.
Yeah, not took advantage of it. I downloaded the app and I saw the water cooker, whatever it is.
Well, I think again, treasure is really what we're talking about here. You know, in how limited supply are these items, and
it's true.
You know, and how much are you willing to do? And I think really again, the value of this lies not in you know, giving deals to people, but more about visibility. And honestly, I don't know how much visibility Amazon needs.
Give them credit though for rolling something new out. I mean, hey,
I always do. They're willing to try anything, and I think that's really, you know, what puts them on the cutting edge. They're doing so many different things. They've got, you know, to throw another cliche out there, they've got so many irons in the fire. It's almost impossible to predict what their next step's going to be. So I can't imagine being a direct competitor, say Walmart, and then just seeing all the things that Amazon's willing to do and just trying to prepare for that or counteract it. So, you know, it's good to keep your competitors guessing.
That, and then kind of on Amazon, but on a side note, that, you know, they're getting ready to open up their second facility, and everybody is actually, you know, all the towns are making a big push to go after it. Philadelphia has an entire ad campaign running in Seattle right now.
On the sides of buses and stuff. So.
They really want it. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. You think about it, though. I wouldn't be surprised if somewhere between Newark and Philadelphia doesn't end up landing this Amazon thing. But it's amazing how these towns are rolling all out. I'm impressed with Philadelphia really going after it. So
yeah, I read New Jersey gave like the highest number bid, but obviously I don't think New Jersey ran any interesting ads or anything like that the way that Philly did.
Yeah, I would love to see the logistics of it, just to see how close they need to be. Because I'm sure they have their engineers have all this stuff planned out. How close they need to be a major hub, from a major hub to be able to do the actual sending of the products out. How close they need to be to a UPS facility, to an actual mail order facility. I mean, there's going to be tons of that, and that's not even factored in.
Airport, water, everything to kind of get the products over. So Amazon keeps growing.
And speaking really quickly of Walmart, there's an interesting statistic that I wanted to mention. Amazon app downloads rose in the first 9 months of this year 10% to 21.8 million, which was 2.4 times that of Walmart, which is the nearest rival in the metrics.
Well, so keep an eye on Walmart, though.
Yeah, well, they're definitely
they're going to make a push.
But again, how many different apps does Walmart have?
That's
Amazon's got multiple.
That is very true. It's a good point. Well, everybody, thanks for tuning into today's episode of the Commexis Cast Daily. Check us out every weekday next week for more of the latest trending news. Have a great day.
Good weekend.